Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at X-Files Case Files, Florida Man, Issue 2. Now this is a continuation of the Florida Man storyline, obviously, written by Delia S. Dawson, pencils by Elena Casagrande, inker was Sylvia Califano, colorist was Ariana Florine, letters by Sean Lee, assistant editor Elizabeth Bree, editor Denton Tipton. This is by IDW. You never really know what you're getting sometimes. But this issue is actually a little better than the first one. We've got Mulder and Scully picking up where we left off, where they shot this guy who was on the drugs. We got some leads, so Scully and Mulder are splitting up for some reason. Scully goes to this church, doesn't find anyone inside. Meanwhile, Mulder goes out to the trailer park where all this bad stuff is supposed to be going on, and he runs into some girl who's going to give him some information. Meanwhile, Scully finds this crocodile cult in a area behind the church, and she tries to get Mulder to come out, but she sees this girl getting doped up with bath salts, and this alligator comes out to attack, and this guy guts it, and then they're gonna kill this girl, so Scully has to intervene, but she gets overwhelmed and won't shoot the cultists for some reason, and then they put her on the bath salts. Now Mulder finds out that the drugs are being propagated by the church. He goes out there to confront them and rescue Scully, and he has to get overrun too because he's a dumb, incompetent man. And Scully manages to somehow fight this guy and then shove him into some gators that eat him, and then she's fine magically because she's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man. Well, the sheriff who's wearing gator boots says, well, your story is nonsense. Clearly the church couldn't have been really involved, obviously, because this meth lab blew up at the trailer park. He's looking at a photo at the end of the issue where it was obviously the girl's house that blew up that had talked to Mulder, and he talks about how one day he's coming to glorious day. So yeah, obviously the sheriff was in on the cult. It's wrapped up a little poorly, but the majority of the issue is good. I thought the ending was stupid and very predictable, but overall not a bad issue. Much better than the first one. Would I recommend it? Not for full price. It wasn't $4 good. It was a good concept for a story. Poor execution overall. I would say there was too many loose elements that weren't well wrapped up. It should have been a 3 or 4 part story to really flesh out the characters and add a little bit more mystery to it. It felt very rushed, and the ending was just really stupid with the sheriff. I think that could have been handled a little better. They didn't really set the sheriff up to be a bad guy other than his alligator boots, and it kind of looks like the whole town's in on everything, and it leaves this plot thread that will never ever be returned to. I'm not super impressed with it. It was okay. It just wasn't as good as it could have been. The writer clearly had a germ of a good idea there that really needed a lot more refinement and a little more space to work it out. And I think it's the fault of not only the writer, but the editorial staff that should have made it a 3 or 4 part story or tighten the story up so that it was a little more straightforward and with fewer loose ends. They gotta get away from this predictable B-movie plot line. That's my opinion on the matter. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would say no, unless you find it in a dollar bin. Yeah, pick it up. It'd be worth $1. Beyond that, it was kind of a miss. I didn't think Scully and Mulder were characterized well in the first issue. This issue was a little better. It just felt very, very rushed. But that'll do it for me. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you like the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss any future episodes. And as always, hope to see you on the next one.